They told her she wasn't ready. They left her off the biggest stage in the world. But what they didn't realize was that they didn't stop Caitlin Clark. They created something far more dangerous. A player with nothing to prove and everything to take. The beginning of an underestimated storm. Every great story always begins with a moment that seems small. A decision, a rejection, a simple, not yet. That is exactly what happened to Caitlin Clark in the summer of 2024. The world saw her as an unstoppable phenomenon, a rookie breaking records, selling out arenas, and elevating women's basketball to a level never seen before. But behind all of that, there was a quiet decision that felt like a betrayal of that very momentum. Her name was not included on the Olympic roster. The reason sounded simple: lack of experience. But reality on the court told a completely different story. Clark wasn't just ready, she was already dominating. That rejection was not only shocking, it opened a deep wound under the spotlight of global attention. And this is where the difference began to show. Many players would react, speak out, push back with words. Clark didn't. She chose silence. And in that silence, she carried something far more dangerous than anger: determination. Because storms never ask for permission to arrive. And when that storm finally moves, nothing can stop it. The phenomenon that changed the game.
Before the controversy even happened, Caitlin Clark had already permanently changed the face of the sport. She wasn't just a talented player, she became the new center of gravity in women's basketball. Every game she played turned into a national event. Tickets sold out within minutes, television ratings skyrocketed, and her highlights flooded social media across the world. She brought an energy that the league had been fighting for over decades. Yet at the peak of that momentum, the system chose to slow it down. When the Olympic roster was announced without her name, questions began to rise everywhere. How could the most influential face in the sport not be on the national team? The official answers never truly satisfied anyone, because the public saw something bigger than statistics or experience. They saw impact, they saw transformation, and they knew Clark was at the center of it all. Still, Clark did not join the noise. She didn't try to prove anything with words. She proved it on the court. Every assist, every deep three, every win became a message stronger than any argument. And slowly, the narrative began to shift from doubt into belief, a rejection that echoed louder. June 11, 2024 was not just another roster announcement. It became a dividing line in women's basketball. When Caitlin Clark's name was left out, the reaction exploded like an uncontrollable storm. Media outlets filled with debates, analysts questioned the decision, and fans demanded answers.
Yet in the middle of all that chaos, Clark remained calm. There was no emotional reaction, no public criticism, no attempt to defend herself. That very night, she did one thing. She played basketball, and she did it in the most convincing way possible. She scored, she controlled the game, and she showed the world that she didn't need validation from anyone. That rejection, which initially looked like a barrier, became fuel. She turned disappointment into energy. She turned doubt into motivation. And most importantly, she reshaped the narrative. Because the more she was overlooked, the bigger her presence became. The more she was questioned, the clearer the answer appeared. And slowly, the world began to understand. This was not the end of the story. This was the beginning of something much greater. The number that wasn't hers. When Caitlin Clark finally stepped onto the court wearing Team USA colors, one detail immediately stood out. The number on her back was not 22. For many, it felt like a loss of identity. Number 22 wasn't just a number. It was a symbol of her journey, her history, her connection with fans. So when she appeared wearing number 12, the reaction was a mix of confusion and disappointment. Some saw it as an attempt to erase what made her unique, but the truth was far more complex. FIBA rules limited jersey numbers, and the national team system assigned numbers based on experience. This wasn't personal, it wasn't an insult, it was simply reality.
Yet, behind that reality was something deeper, because the number she wore was not random. It carried history, it carried meaning, and it would ultimately redefine how the world saw her. What initially felt like a loss slowly transformed into something much greater, a symbol, of transition. The legacy of a legend. Number 12 is not just a number in women's basketball history. It is a symbol of dominance, consistency, and greatness. It belongs to Diana Taurasi, a player who defined an era for over 2 decades. When Caitlin Clark wore that number, many did not immediately understand the significance. But for those who knew the history, it felt like the passing of an era. Taurasi is not just a legend, she is the standard. And when she publicly acknowledged Clark as the rightful successor, it wasn't just praise, it was recognition. In that moment, the past and the future met. What once looked like a loss of identity became a coronation. Clark did not lose 22. She gained something greater. She inherited a legacy. And with that legacy comes responsibility, expectation, and pressure far beyond the ordinary. But if there is one thing Clark has already proven, it is her ability to rise under pressure. And number 12 is not the end of her story. It is the beginning of a new chapter. Silence louder than words. In a modern sports world where every player has a platform and every opinion can be shared instantly, choosing silence is rare. Yet that is exactly what Caitlin Clark did. While the world shouted, she stayed quiet. No emotional interviews, no criticism of the system, no public defense. She simply played. And within that silence, she created something stronger than words. Every game became a statement. Every assist became an argument. Every shot became an answer. She allowed criticism to grow, allowed doubt to build, and then destroyed it with undeniable performance. This is where the difference between great players and legends becomes clear. Great players react to pressure. Legends transform it into fuel. Clark didn't just accept pressure, she converted it into power. And the result was something impossible to ignore. She didn't just prove she belonged, she proved she was inevitable. The protector emerges. But this story is not about one person alone. In the middle of Caitlin Clark's journey, another figure emerged and changed the dynamic: Sophie Cunningham. She wasn't a superstar, not a headline name, but she brought something different: the courage to stand up. While Clark remained silent, Cunningham acted. She saw the physicality, the pressure, and the lack of protection Clark faced, and she refused to ignore it. The moment of confrontation on the court wasn't just an incident, it was a statement, a message to the entire league that Clark was not alone. In one night, Cunningham transformed from a role player into a symbol of loyalty and protection. She became the voice Clark never used.
And the world saw something new, a balance between silence and action, between composure and defiance. And from that moment, the narrative began to shift. Loyalty that changed perception. For a long time, the story was framed as Caitlin Clark versus the league, as if she stood alone against a system that resisted her rise. But Sophie Cunningham changed that perception. She proved that within the league, there were voices that saw, understood, and were willing to act. This was no longer an individual conflict. It became a movement. Cunningham symbolized something powerful, that Clark was not a threat to the league, but its future. And as more players began to see that truth, the old narrative started to collapse. What remained was something stronger than conflict: unity around change, proof on the global stage. When Caitlin Clark finally got her opportunity on the international stage, she didn't just perform, she dominated. In the 2026 FIBA qualifiers, she controlled the pace, created opportunities, and executed with elite precision. Every game reinforced the same truth. She wasn't just worthy of being there, she was central to everything. Her numbers were impressive, but her impact went far beyond statistics. She brought confidence, leadership, and vision that transformed the team. And when the tournament ended with her being named MVP, it wasn't surprising, it was inevitable. It was the result of everything she had built, everything she had endured, and everything she had proven.
The beginning of an unfinished legend. When we step back and look at the full journey of Caitlin Clark, it becomes clear that this is more than basketball. This is about transformation. It's about how one individual can accelerate the evolution of an entire sport. The Olympic snub, the jersey number change, the pressure, the redemption, each moment forms part of a larger narrative. She didn't just survive it, she grew from it. She didn't follow the story, she rewrote it. And now, carrying both legacy and expectation, she stands at a point only a few ever reach. This is not the end, it's only the beginning. Because legends are not built in a single season or a single tournament. They are built in moments like these, when the world doubts and someone chooses to prove them wrong. And if this journey has taught us anything, it is this: we still haven't seen the best of Caitlin Clark.